Shockwaves rippled across South Africa as dawn broke over the country, following what has now become one of the most consequential law enforcement operations in recent political history. In the early hours of the morning, the Hawks executed a tightly coordinated and highly confidential raid on the residence of former President Jacob Zuma. What was initially assumed to be a straightforward targeted recovery of documents tied to older corruption and state capture inquiries quickly spiraled into an extraordinary and politically explosive discovery. Investigators, who had spent months conducting surveillance, gathering intelligence, and securing a sealed warrant of exceptional confidentiality, entered the property expecting to retrieve a limited set of digital records and communications for ongoing investigations. Instead, what they uncovered inside the residence surpassed every expectation, revealing layers of hidden material that senior officials have privately described as unprecedented, deeply alarming, and politically radioactive. As the operation unfolded, the team of forensic specialists, cyber intelligence analysts, and elite investigators quietly breached the property at first light. Their mission had been carefully planned, with every step executed under strict secrecy due to concerns that any leak could compromise the integrity of the operation. But within minutes of entering the home, the Hawks realized they were dealing with something far more elaborate than they had prepared for. Behind what appeared to be an ordinary wall panel, investigators discovered a discreetly engineered hidden compartment, one so expertly constructed that it would have gone unnoticed without advanced detection equipment. Inside this concealed space were stacks upon stacks of tightly wrapped bundles of cash, arranged in foreign currencies and sealed in a way consistent with international smuggling operations. Several bundles were heat-sealed, a technique often associated with covert capital transfers, underground financial networks, and operations involving sophisticated laundering systems or intelligence-linked funding channels. Forensic analysts on the scene immediately began documenting and cataloging the cash, photographing serial numbers and packaging styles while simultaneously preparing the notes for secure transport to a classified laboratory. Experts believe the origin of these funds may be tied to offshore accounts, shadow donors, or clandestine networks previously suspected to be linked to large-scale corruption schemes. Each bundle will undergo tests for fingerprints, DNA traces, chemical residues associated with long-term storage, and microscopic markings that may reveal the route the money traveled across borders. The sheer volume and unusual handling of the cash stunned investigators, but the surprises did not end there. As teams moved deeper into the residence, they identified false flooring and steel-reinforced compartments concealed beneath ordinary household structures. Behind these barriers lay an even more alarming collection of materials: encrypted laptops, heavily modified smartphones with wiped serial numbers, flash drives disguised as ordinary household objects, and advanced encryption modules rarely seen outside intelligence or counterintelligence agencies. Some devices showed signs of professional tampering, including attempts to destroy or erase sensitive data using methods far more complex than typical consumer wiping tools. Cybersecurity experts at the scene realized immediately that they were dealing with an array of digital hardware specifically designed to hide or compartmentalize high-risk communications. According to sources familiar with the operation, early analysis suggests these devices could contain confidential correspondence related to offshore banking channels, internal ANC communications, private directives exchanged within political factions, or even information connecting powerful individuals to corruption networks, long suspected but never proven. Extracting data from these devices, however, will be an enormous challenge. Experts have indicated that the encryption layers protecting some of the drives are sophisticated enough to require weeks or even months of decryption attempts. Special teams have already begun the slow process of duplicating drives, preserving their original states, and attempting to break through security barriers without damaging the contents. In addition to the digital hardware and hidden cache, investigators uncovered a collection of handwritten ledgers, notebooks, and coded documents. These records include initials, dates, transaction amounts, and other cryptic entries that appear to map out complex financial movements. Some entries correspond directly with dates of controversial political decisions, high-profile public events, or internal ANC disputes. The possibility that these documents may outline undisclosed financial flows, potentially even political funding routes, has raised alarm among senior investigators. Some of the handwritten notes reportedly match patterns seen in previous state capture reports, suggesting that long-suspected networks of influence may extend deeper than previously documented. The Hawks are treating these materials not only as evidence but as potential keys to unlocking dormant investigations that have stalled for lack of definitive proof. Within hours of the raid, emergency closed-door meetings were convened inside law enforcement headquarters. High-ranking officials issued strict instructions regarding evidence handling, confidentiality protocols, and chain-of-custody procedures. Despite the intense secrecy, several insiders privately admitted that the scope and nature of the discoveries could reshape the legal landscape surrounding Jacob Zuma's long-standing conflicts with the judiciary. These findings also have the potential to open entirely new investigations into individuals who have, until now, remained politically insulated or considered untouchable. The operation, originally intended to recover limited data, has now become a turning point capable of exposing a much broader network of corruption and influence. The political reverberations were immediate. Within the ANC's top leadership, unease spread rapidly as details of the raid's outcome quietly circulated. Multiple senior members, speaking off record, expressed concern that the materials seized could deepen already intense factional divides within the party. With elections approaching, the timing of such a discovery could not be more precarious. Some fear that the evidence may implicate influential party figures, potentially triggering a crisis of legitimacy or even a major internal war. Others worry about the public reaction, noting that South Africans have grown increasingly frustrated with corruption scandals that continue to surface year after year. Jacob Zuma's legal team, however, responded with fierce resistance, condemning the raid as politically motivated and alleging that the Hawks acted unlawfully. In a strongly worded statement, they accused law enforcement of orchestrating a smear campaign designed to influence public opinion and undermine Zuma's political influence. The team vowed to challenge the legality of the search warrant in court, arguing that the operation violated constitutional protections and was based on flawed or fraudulent intelligence. Yet sources within the Hawks insist that every step of the operation, from warrant application to tactical execution, was meticulously vetted, approved at high judicial levels, and conducted with full adherence to legal requirements. Political analysts evaluating the unfolding situation warn that South Africa may be heading toward another seismic political storm. The implications of the seized evidence are profound: unexplained foreign currency sealed like smuggling assets, encrypted devices suggestive of covert operations, and coded documents potentially linking powerful actors to illicit financial networks. All of this paints a picture that is impossible to dismiss, especially given Zuma's long and complex history with corruption allegations, legal battles and factional power struggles within the ANC. Analysts believe the evidence could lead to new criminal charges, revive previously abandoned cases, trigger fresh arrests, and force the country into another round of political reckoning. Public reaction has been immediate and intense. Social media platforms erupted with outrage, speculation and arguments about what the discoveries could mean for the nation. Many South Africans see the raid as further proof of deep-rooted corruption among the political elite, confirming long-held suspicions that the rot within state institutions stretches far wider than officially acknowledged. Others insist the timing and scale of the raid point to political manipulation designed to weaken specific factions or undermine Zuma's supporters within the ANC. Heated debates have broken out across the country, with citizens demanding transparency, accountability and protection for investigators who may now face political pressure or intimidation. As the investigation continues, experts say that more revelations are almost guaranteed. Every seized device is undergoing deep forensic imaging. Every document is being analyzed by specialists in handwriting, coding, and financial tracing. Every bundle of cash is being examined for forensic markers that may expose previously invisible networks. If the information extracted aligns with investigators' current suspicions, South Africa could be on the verge of one of the largest political accountability battles in its modern history. The raid has already shaken the nation's confidence in its political system, but many believe the full truth could be even more explosive than what has been revealed so far. With evidence still being processed, political alliances shifting in response to the unfolding crisis, and public demands for justice growing louder each day, South Africa appears to be standing at the threshold of a historic reckoning. The question now is not whether the discoveries inside Zuma'S home will have consequences, but just how far-reaching and transformative those consequences will be.